everyone, and welcome to FranTastic Insights, where we provide insights from some of the coolest people in franchising. My name is Alesia Visconti. I am the CEO and president of FranServe and Franchise Dictionary magazine. Now, FranServe is the largest franchise consulting organization in the world, and our mission is really very simple. We help people find their perfect franchise, and we do that through a network of incredible franchisors and franchise consultants. Now today I'm very excited to have a friend with me and a wonderful franchisor. We have Dennis Schooley from Schooley Mitchell. Dennis, welcome to Franchise and FranServe and FranTastic Insights.
Well, thanks, Alesia. I'm glad to be here, and hopefully we're going to have a good time here for a few minutes.
Absolutely. So, Schooley Mitchell, if you could just explain to our audience a little bit what your brand does and, why it's different and why they might be interested in your brand, I think that would be a wonderful start.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, when people hear about and think about franchising, they often think about, hamburgers and a quarter ounce of mustard on every burger, or muffler parts, or washing windows, or something like that. And that's been the history of it. But the reality is there's a lot of different businesses that are franchised, and we've been franchising our concept for more than 20 years here at Schooley Mitchell. And what it is an executive consulting model where we help companies reduce their costs. Now, the nice thing about what we do, and so I guess maybe the sexy thing about what we do, is we offer these services without a fee. What we do is we share in the savings that we find with our clients. So the client can have us come in, do our work, do our digging. And in fact, if we don't find any savings, they don't have to pay us anything. So it's a pretty good insurance policy for that client to know they can get a professional consulting job done, seeking to improve their profits by reducing expenses. And we do that on a completely independent basis. We don't have any horse in the race, so to speak, in terms of what the results are for the recommendations. We're just looking out for the best interest of our clients. So we're a professional business and an executive model, so to speak, as opposed to worrying about residential markets or paying minimum wage employees and having your business sort of function based on reliance on that. We don't do that. We're a professional business like an accountant or a lawyer. I mean, we don't do tax or law, but we just reduce expenses in some areas that we're really, really good at.
That is very unique in the industry. And so you're basically a B2B business. Yep. And an executive model. So can you explain a little bit about what your ideal franchisee would be? What criteria do you look for someone to join your franchise?
Yeah, well, first of all, we do have a list of must-haves. And the must-haves include executive or management, sales or marketing or consulting at some point in the background of that franchise. So we look at that first of all, which does, take us out of that realm of, those other types of franchises, which are great models for lots of great people. But we're looking for executive people. What it really boils down to, though, Alesia, is this. If a person is comfortable having a conversation with an executive in a larger company or an owner or controller in a smaller company, as long as they're comfortable having that conversation and they're willing to do what we do, which is fun, so talking to people, then they can be very successful in our business. So there's not a specific skill set. It's more of a mindset and an ability to be comfortable having conversations with business people.
In terms of territories and if you're targeting, can you explain a little bit? Because again, you have a very unique model. So what do you, stance on territories?
Yeah, and I mean, there's really three unique characteristics to our business that sets us apart. And one is what you're saying is that demographics in our world don't matter because we don't have territories. Now, in a normal franchise, you get a territory, which can provide you with some protection, but it also limits the number of customers or clients you can obtain. We do not have that restriction. Our franchisees can get clients anywhere they want in North America. And so that has some really significant effects. Traffic patterns, age, sex, race, religion, all those things that go into a buying pattern, competition in the area, government changing roads and things like that. None of that has any effect on us. It is up to our individual franchise to go where they want to go. And that can be on this block or the next town or the next county, whatever they want, wherever the opportunity is. And referrals can take you anywhere in the country. Well,
That's
two countries.
Great.
United States.
So no limitations in terms of that. If I'm in New Jersey, I don't have to work just with people in New Jersey, correct?
That's exactly right. So demographics don't affect us. The other thing that doesn't affect us is economics. Many businesses will say they're recession-proof. but they're really not. You know, unless they're selling essential goods or services, if they're charging money for what they sell, then they're not recession proof, because disposable dollars are dictated by economic conditions like recessions. And if they're not there, they're not there. They can't buy what you sell, no matter what it is. So, but in our case, we don't charge money to go in the door and do our work.
Yeah.
And of course,
Are you Dennis? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. In a bad economic time, companies have to cut costs, and that's what we do. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what I wanted to point out, and you just mentioned it, so that's perfect. I wanted to point out how, you know, your franchisees help their candidates save money. So again, definitely wonderful when an economy is up, but certainly when an economy is down, very advantageous.
In both cases, we're perfectly elastic to economic conditions, and really we don't have competition in our world either, especially in the small and medium marketplace. So really, this is a franchise. You know, most people will say when they want to get a franchise, I want to control my future, the money I earn, my time, my asset that I'm going to build. All those things are truly in the control of our individual franchise. There's nothing else that affects you except yourself, with a great system, of course.
And that's it. That's all about the support, which kind of leads us right into the next point that I want to talk about. And that's one of my favorite, you know, hashtags on social media. I use it all the time, and that is Franchise Strong. And to me, Franchise Strong talks about our community as a franchise family, if you will, and how we work together during, as you said, strong economies, you know, struggling economies, COVID, all of it, to help people to realize their dream of franchise ownership. So many people want to work for themselves. They get confused. They don't know how to do it. And owning a franchise really does help them to realize their dreams. So that's what I think about. I think about caring, you know, entrepreneurs who band together to be the franchise community. For you, Dennis, and your brand, what does Franchise Strong mean to you?
Well, you know, Franchise Strong has a lot of connotations to me, in the sense that you're right, it's community and there's sharing of ideas and concepts through various organizations, but it also means the concept, the strategy of franchising is one of strength. You know, it's a design to penetrate and dominate a marketplace. That's what franchising is. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years with Schooley Mitchell, so I've learned a lot about franchising over time, and I've taught people about franchising over time, but it has to do with that. How can you penetrate? How can you dominate a marketplace? And why can you do that? And that all comes down to strong systems. You know, there's support in a franchise system. There's tools. In our case, we've built our tools to be multi-million-dollar tools over the last 20 years. Those things are really on the plate of a franchisee the minute they start. And to me, that really is what Franchise Strong means, over and above the interactive and community part of it. It's just the concept itself is a strength in approaching business, much different than trying to do things on your own.
Absolutely, and that really plays to the tagline that we use so often, because it's heartfelt, right? Go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. And it is the systems that carry people over and over again to be successful. So great points in bringing those out, Dennis. I think our listeners would be very, very excited about the idea of being successful with the brand like Schooley Mitchell. So thank you on that.
No, you're welcome.
I really appreciate how the brand and you guys make such a difference in people's lives and for their families, because as you said, that's why most people get into franchising, right?
Well, it absolutely is. And we've got a very congruent system here, because if the client doesn't win, which means we create extra resources for them to do things, you know, whether they're a nonprofit, whether a business needs more inventory, equipment, hire more people, whatever, we're creating funds for the business. The business has to win first, and then our franchisee wins. And if our franchisee wins, then we win at corporate. So it's a very congruent relationship we have all the way through. And of course, it all matters to the client, right? And when the client is the focus of everything, that's who pays for everything. And so that's what we're all about at Schooley Mitchell, is the actual ultimate client.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. Now, I appreciate your FranTastic insights. Any last words before we wrap up today?
Well, no, other than thank you, and you guys are doing a great job, and hopefully we are too. And we've grown like a weed in this last few months, where we've added all kinds of great people, because I think we've become well known now as a brand that's got franchisees that are very, very successful, and they're helping a lot of business clients. And even in an environment like the COVID environment, businesses need to cut costs even more than ever. So our franchisees are out there just chugging.
Yes, and I will tell you, I can second that. I know how strong your brand is and how much growth you've had over the last couple months. So kudos to you and to your team and to your franchisees.
Well, thank you, Alesia, and thank you for having me today. I'll do this every week if you'd like me to.
It's always a pleasure. You always make me smile, Dennis. I always enjoy our conversations together. So I thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.
Terrific. Thank you, Dennis.